Hello everyone, this is Jimmy Cultist, and today we are going to be talking about arcing projectiles. Now technically, if you watched my video on how to create a bow, I may have covered the subject of an arcing projectile previously. But we're going to cover it in depth all by itself, just to show you the multiple methods. Believe it or not, there are multiple methods for creating an arcing projectile. And that's essentially a projectile where when you aim it straight up in the sky, it does a curve. It doesn't fly straight. Instead, it has actual weight, and it can be arced, and it has a set range and all that good stuff. Anyway, this is going to be our cannon. I'm not going to go through the trouble of making a puppet that, you know, shoots a gun or whatever. I just want to demonstrate the most simple principles of the arcing projectile. Things that you would probably incorporate this for would be like catapult, a cannon, things of that nature. And this is going to be our firing range. And we're going to group all these and set them to scenery. Put a microchip on here. You could easily adapt this to a puppet if you actually wanted to, you know, make a gun with an arcing shot or something. Okay, what are we going to use? Let's just use a flag. First thing you're going to want is a mover. Well, not a mover. An emitter. Beg my pardon. An emitter. So, next thing you're going to want is your projectile. And it can be any shape, but we're going to go with a round cannonball shape. And we're going to select stamp shape, make it black. Just put it out like that. And we're going to create a group just in case we want to add anything later. Because groups, you know, always create a group when you're making a projectile. So just stamp out a fleck, make it invisible, and there's our group. Then stamp a microchip on the outside. That's where you would add all your damage modifiers and various other things that you would be, you know. But the most simple method of creating an arcing projectile is just go to Object to Emit, select the cannonball. Let's close this real quick. Move this off to the side. That's our parent object, and this is our emitted object. Now we're just going to simply direct this arrow to the side here. And it's not going to come out very fast. This is probably not so much an arcing projectile as it is a bowling mechanic. But we're going to create something better. Also, let's put a limit on how many of those we can emit. Let's try 10. Recycle objects when all this is emitted. And all you gotta do is turn up the emit speed if you want it to have a bit more punch, you know, want it to fly farther. Now that's more what I would call an arcing projectile. It's also, you know, that's clearly an arcing projectile. It's even almost got enough momentum to make it over the wall. If I was making a game with a catapult, this is probably the method I would use. Also, let's just give it a little bit more speed, see if we can make it right over that city wall. Oh, that's way over the city wall. Let's try 19, that's probably a little bit closer to what we want. Yeah, that'll make it. Judging the exact range, you know, for a game, that's something you can figure out yourself, but that's the most simple way of creating an arcing projectile. But there is something else to consider. say we want to create a projectile, and we only want it to arc after it's flown for a certain distance. Like, you know, have it fly straight, and then have it arc. Well, for that, we'll need a timeline. Set to play once. Just put a mover on here, set it to local space, set it so that it's facing toward the front of the projectile. Movement strength and overall dampening. Maximum. We'll set it to 5. Now just tip this down. Now if I'm right, what this should do is create a scenario in which the projectile begins arcing later. Probably don't want it arcing in that direction, but I think you know, I think you get the gist. Let's try putting it back this way and see if this corrects the fault. But that's a weapon that doesn't arc until it reaches a certain point. This would be good if you were making like a platformer and you wanted something to be firing, but then it like goes down a long tunnel that you're trying to climb or something. 2D platformer. You know, like this. And you're like hopping on platforms trying to weave in between these cannonballs or something like that. You could also have a gradual descent if you want to create your own synthetic arc. Just stick down a keyframe, copy it to the end here, and just set strength to 0 and overall dampening to 0 within this keyframe, and you'll get a natural arc. We could also add a little bit more speed to this. Which is a bit more like a cannon, you know, because when you fire a cannon, it shoots pretty straight and then it loses momentum and levels off. I don't know if it would level off quite that much. If you don't want the drop-off to be so severe, you could arc the gyroscope up a little bit. See, that might be better. Let's try down and see what happens. No curve shots, that's good. Mainly what I'm worried about is curve shots, like getting a situation in which the thing curves upward, which I think will happen if you fire directly down. You're gonna get curve shot. But that might be kind of a fun mechanic in some situations, you know. I almost want to see someone actually make a game using these mechanics, because it's interesting. Oh, another thing is, if you set this to movable, it should collide with surfaces. Of course, because the mover won't shut off, it'll just magnetize to the wall. So if you wanted to, like, shut this whole thing down, just hook up a counter, turn the counter on count 1, turn this off. Basically just have it so that when it collides with something labeled properly, in this case, scenery, it'll shut that thing off. And then it'll just drop naturally and it won't have that sticky effect. You could also just have it instantly destroy when it collides with a wall. Oops. Like so. But where's the fun in that? I guess you could add a little explosion if you wanted to, like poof. I'll show you what that would be like real quick. We're going to use one of Billy's explosions because he's the master of explosions for some reason. He's like, what's his face? Saruman the White. You know, what sort of force could bring down the wall? We'll set the lifetime to 5% and emit once. And I'll show you a little trick where if you don't want it to destroy before the explosion comes out, you can guarantee everything goes off without a hitch by simply going into the secondary tweak menu of our emitter, go to emit object, or object just emitted, connect it to the destroyer's power, and basically, this will make it so that the explosion always comes before the destroyer is triggered. Boom. Boom. That looks cool. Let's have some fun. Alright, I've had enough fun. I hope you found this helpful if you're making your own arcing projectile or whatever else you may want. You know, maybe this would be handy for some sort of physics-based bowling game, I don't know, whatever suits your fancy. In the meantime, though, we're gonna show our monthly supporters on Coffee and give them a good, hearty, you know, appraisal, a welcoming hand. There they go. And that's all for now. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe to the channel. And don't forget to ring the notification bell so you never miss another video. If you wish to support our earnest insanity, you can check the links in the description to donate or buy merch. Until next time, goodbye.